What do I need to do to get involved as a volunteer within search and rescue? Here are a few things you should consider before you're getting into a search and rescue team, and particularly on the side of training and preparedness. One thing that you absolutely need to be taken into account when you're starting up in search and rescue and you decided that you wanted to join a volunteer search and rescue team, you need to be physically able and capable, but depending on the position that you will be doing. For example, a drone search rescue operator as a volunteer has less physical demands than somebody that is involved with going up a mountain with mountain rescue, or you're doing water rescue. Multidisciplinary things you should be definitely considering. If you're doing canine, also you will need to be healthy and fit to be following your canine that is pulling ahead of you, trying to get to the missing subject. Then we also need to take into account the geography where you will be active in as a search and rescue volunteer. For example, the environment behind me is less demanding than what we have in a search and rescue environment in the mountains. But circumstances and weather differences also make a huge difference on your body. So you need to be really scrutinizing yourself. If you're going to be in an operational role, so not in an administrative role or crisis management role where you are at the incident command van or the incident command location, you're just staying at base. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you staying at incident command base and helping and assisting to find a missing person. But for operational roles, I want you to keep in mind that you need to absolutely be fit, are not overly elderly, you don't have major physical issues. Generally, the people that I've seen on the operational side of things vary between age of 25 and usually 55. Sometimes some people make 60 if they are doing operational roles, but that's the general demographic of operational roles that I have seen that do not have medical debilitating problems in their body. How to train physically for what you're going to do in search and rescue. There is a great free course from the National Association for Search and Rescue. You can get a participational certificate. You can follow it in the NASAR Academy. I'll make sure to link it down below. It is on physical training and preparedness for search and rescue, specifically designed to follow a training procedure. Also, if you'll be following courses like Fundamental Search and Rescue, we'll definitely be talking about this. I highly recommend you going after to do that. Also, a thing that I want you to be aware of if you're going to do backpacking, which quite demanding physically kind of things, I want you to start looking into something which is called functional patterns. What is functional patterns? Functional patterns is a way of functional training. Basically, I've seen results. If you look on their Instagram, I've trained some functional patterns myself, and I found it to be very useful for my own body. I got a very good friend of mine. I advised her in this, and she helped her back to become better. Especially if you have some knee trouble or you have some back trouble, you're hiking with very large style search and rescue, 48 hours to 72-hour backpacks, you're gonna require some form of functional training. One thing you cannot train in a gym or anything else is general just walking. One thing that you will be doing within search and rescue at all times is a lot of walking, with pack or without a pack. Maybe I'll do this in the future. If you want a video how I, as a search rescue instructor, train physically for search and rescue, let me know. I will be inclined to do that. Although, keep in mind, I'm not a PT instructor. Another thing that is highly important for you if you decide to want to join a volunteer search and rescue team, I want you to absolutely research the specializations that you're getting into. You can follow free materials like you are doing right now, doing some study here on Emhance International Responder Development. But I also want you to look into the teams which they have, because each team sometimes has an inclination to a specific specialty which they are good at. Some teams do equestrian, some teams are a little bit more oriented towards canine, some are more oriented towards technical rescue or oriented towards just ground pounding, walking over and making miles and to see if we can find tracks. Some teams are more inclined towards man tracking, which allows you to find, like the Indians go, look at footprints and see if we can find a direction of travel of a missing persons and that. And I want you to really understand the physical limitations and your abilities before you decide to join a team. Next, I want you to absolutely understand that each search and rescue team has a reputation towards them. And you will need to see, okay, in which way does this search and rescue team be acquainted to for example, a law enforcement body that's actually deploying them. Because there's a lot of different teams that imply that they are doing search and rescue. And that is just the truth of it. But for example, they're a well-willing canine team and they're training with their canines, but they're actually not doing deployments. So they're more on the sport side of things. They sometimes imply that they are doing a response, but they're not always contributing in that way as a SAR team, which is fine for people that are doing that. And I absolutely compliment you for doing that, because then you're doing a little bit more as a hobby. Well, the people that are actually very dedicated in search and rescue, I'm not saying that you are not very dedicated in search and rescue, not at all, because I highly compliment you for watching this and exploring how to get into it. But they are more inclined to just the sports side of things. Well, you should be viewing this as a volunteer career, because that's what it is. It takes that amount of dedication, time, and effort into what you're doing as a search and rescue volunteer professional. Because assuming if you are watching this video, that's the route that you wanted to take. Next are some of the personality traits that are important for you as a search and rescue professional. So one of the things that we always teach in the NASAR courses is you need to be considerate and passionate. Not to a point of passionate that you're over the top of you need to be still grounded, but you need to be capable of recognizing and having a high willingness to help. And that in collaboration with a high teamwork effort and a high teamwork spirit. Because if you don't encompass these, you're gonna get yourself in trouble. Search and rescue is, if you're joining search and rescue, don't join search and rescue because you intend to be the superhero and save a lot of people. There is a part of it that is to that, absolutely. But I think that you should join search and rescue from intrinsic willingness to participate and assist somebody else. Because there's not a lot of fame in search and rescue if you're trying to get into this. There is also not a lot of pay in search and rescue. If you really want to try to transition from a volunteer to a full-time search and rescue professional and you can get paid, I have to disappoint you, but more on that you can watch in this video up there. So with that, I really hoped I gave you some insight in what you're doing with search and rescue. It means a ton to me that you are exploring how to become better in search and rescue, or how we are joining towards search and rescue. Because there's a huge amount of in and outflow with what we're doing in search and rescue, because it is a volunteer career. The next thing I want you to consider is, if you want to be decent at this and you are treating this as a volunteer career, consider looking into some of the search and rescue certifications that are around there, particularly those from NASAR. I know I'm shooting my own horn, and I know I'm tooting my own horn here, but it has helped me so much. And if you want to become more proficient, we as Emhance International Responder Development host a variety of courses, international, backed by bodies like NASAR, or they are NASAR courses, or the Institute of Search and Technical Rescue, or other types and varying kinds of search and rescue bodies. We are keen to assist, and if you are just wandering around and get more information, stay for the content, make sure you subscribe and like. Thank you so much for your time and efforts. This is Robin, search and rescue instructor for Emhance International Responder Development. Cheers.